ASUS says that incredible comes from within. Well, I say that they sponsored this video so I can look at the new ZenScreen Fold OLED, or as I like to call it, the FOLED. We've got probably the monitor here, but what I want to see is what's in this black box. Looks like it's a max 30-watt wall wart. I'll just put that to the side, take off this foam, and look at what's under the box, because this looks like a carrying case. ASUS ZenScreen. Feels cushiony, even though all I've done is press it through the plastic. The benefit to being foldable means that when it's folded up, your portable monitor should be able to fit in this, 12.5-inch bag? I'm a little dubious, but we're gonna find out. It's a pretty nice box with a pretty nice label. It's our ASUS ZenScreen Fold OLED portable monitor, MQ17QH. When will they do away with crazy monitor names? I'll never know. But the funny thing is the box folds open too. No wonder I couldn't just open it. All right, I guess they're really going for a folding experience. This is probably the screen. It's heavy enough. It should be about 1.17 kilos, so not super heavy. We've also got an HDMI to mini HDMI cable. We've got a ASUS booklet. It thanked me for buying the product, and then it gave me the warranty. That's my VIP member notice. Then what else have we got? This is heavy. This is, oh, if you want to put it on a stand. It does come with a 1/4 inch thread that you can use to attach it to a stand. We've also got a right angle USB-C to not right angle USB-C connector. We've also got a nice little, what is this, cleaning cloth? Not a big deal, but it's nice that they include it. Why is it all in plastic? This is my, it's a really minor nitpick, but I've had to take everything out of plastic for this whole thing. And I really would have loved it if, it's all sealed in here really nicely. They could have just laid it flat and that would have been okay. Basically, super easy peasy IKEA instructions telling me how to turn on the monitor. All right, let's open it, take this plastic cover off, and see what's inside. It's like a giant book. It's like if I've got 2 tablets and I've got it like right in front of me. It's like a giant book or something. And then if you do want to read it like a book, maybe a big cookbook on your countertop, it's got a kickstand on the back. Look at that. We'll talk about the price later. It's very expensive. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's very expensive, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty nifty. It's the world's first portable OLED foldable monitor. It's also got, hey, look at this, F-OLED on the back. I was literally calling it FOLED for funsies, and everyone's like, that's stupid. No one should call it F-OLED. I was right. We've got our 1/4 inch thread right here that should hook into this guy. It's got this little post on the bottom and then our screw at the top. And then you can see it's got a guide there. And then you just screw it down. Wow. I like the ASUS logo on the front here. It looks pretty cool. Reminds me of the Star Trek logo. Other than that, it's pretty clean. It's got little ASUS ZenFold printing on the back here, so you know exactly what it is. And then we've got it on the side as well. And then we've got our ports and power buttons, or I/O, up here. It looks like we've got a headphone jack, mini HDMI, DisplayPort Alt through USB-C. I like how they're both DisplayPort. It makes perfect sense. It's a monitor. And then we've got an array of buttons. I'm sure one is power. The other 3, I'm not sure. We'll have to try them out. We should be getting a nice 2560 by 1920 in this aspect ratio, which should be a good amount of PPI, nothing too crazy. As for the crease, when it's folded out and it's all the way down and flat, it's only really visible from some angles. If I'm dead on, it's actually not too bad. And I'm sure with content, you can barely even notice it, but we'll have to judge that for ourselves later. Man, I can't, oh my God, it just feels so uncomfortable for me to open and fold screens. Like it's like I'm opening a laptop, but then it's just all screen. But as uncomfortable as I may be folding it up to take it away with me, let's power it on and see just what a portable, foldable OLED monitor looks like in 2024. One minor complaint, ASUS, I know it's portable and most of the time your stuff's gonna be right here, but you do advertise it as being able to be put on a stand and used as a regular monitor. But my computer's all the way down here and my power is a little further than that. So I just want a longer cable. Please, 2 longer cables. The power will not reach where ours is, and then our HDMI probably will reach, but it's gonna be a little tight. So one moment please while I get this stuff plugged in. Okay, now that it's all fired up, the colors look pretty good. We actually tested them, more on that later, and they're not too shabby. Let's make sure everything's set to the right thing. Yeah, 2560 by 1920, and unfortunately to say, it is only 60 hertz. It is a portable monitor, but you know what? When you're LAN gaming, like at a LAN event, Do you need 120 hertz? It'd be nice, but 60, it's good enough to game. So let's turn HDR on. I've got to say, the crease on a dark background is a lot more noticeable, especially when you're off axis. But when there's color and there's actually content displaying and you're kind of bang on, it's really not that bad. Let's try some games. Let's try Doom. Doom Eternal.
Look at that aspect ratio.
It's weird.
With the blue
The nice thing about Doom is that we know it'll do a weird aspect ratio. I've just got to set it within the actual menu. 16 by 10, no. We want 4 by 3, babies. 2560 by 1920, apply. Yeah, this is Doom the way it was meant to be played, on a CRT. Well, now it's OLED, but we're still 4 by 3, and I gotta say, I really like 4 by 3. I think for games, there's something kind of nice about it, especially on a smaller screen. And like, I've gotta say, the display looks really good. Like, that's just OLED for you. With self-emissive pixels, it's such a good time compared to even like a really high-end mini LED display. I'm just kind of team OLED now, and especially with image retention and burn-in being such a thing of the past, it's still possible, but like most people who are daily driving these monitors, even a year or two from now, myself included, I still don't see any. So I mean, maybe down the line, but so far so good. I wish it was a higher refresh rate, but like, it looks solid. You know what? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's the most responsive display I've ever used in my entire life. But if I was at a LAN event or if I'm just kind of gaming on the go, this is totally good enough. With an OLED portable monitor like this, we're getting a crazy high contrast ratio. Some people like to say it's like 1,000,000 to 1 or infinite because your black is going to be perfectly black and then your brights are going to be not too bad. I think we're getting a top end of about 500 nits in HDR, which is perfectly respectable. It's not gonna be, you know, a high-end TV or anything like that, but I mean, it's a portable monitor. Do you really need it to be 1,000 nits? I don't.
You know, that does look really good.
Yeah, it's about 4.9 million pixels. So even though it's 4 by 3, it's kind of like it's QHD or 1440p. And on a 17-inch screen, it's plenty of pixels. It looks pretty good. Really decent PPI. Just gonna check out the latency a little bit with Counter-Strike. I'm gonna, like, you know, it's not perfect. Obviously, it's 60 hertz, but it's totally usable. I hope that if you're trying to be competitive at a LAN event, you're bringing like a full-scale monitor. Like, this is just for if you wanna game on the go. It's okay. I think we measured about 0.8 milliseconds for response times and about 37 milliseconds of latency, but that's perfectly usable for a foldable OLED monitor. But next up, let's talk color accuracy and the rest of our testing results. In standard mode, we measured an average delta E of 5 with a max of 8.5 rounding up. Nothing groundbreaking, but solid for a portable monitor. As for HDR and BT 2020, Game HDR was our most accurate mode with a delta E ITP of 7.7 on average and a max of 17.9. It's actually pretty respectable for HDR content. We've seen better, we've seen worse. It's not going to be a disappointing display when you're looking at HDR content. OLED just looks so good these days because they finally figured out how to make it bright enough without having to worry too much about image retention or burn-in. And the result is good, it speaks for itself. I mean, it's really just hard to beat. And until micro LED can come out with something that makes it single pane instead of multiple small panes so that you're always looking at a crease, it's gonna be good. But the reality is, it's $2,200 US, which is very expensive, and I assume it's going to be for a very niche crowd. However, those of you who do want it, who can afford it, it's pretty sick because, check this out. Just gonna unplug it, fold it up, put it into our handy dandy carrying case now that it's only 12.5 inches, and then we just drop it in. The case came with it, so you don't have to go buy one. And like, at about 2.5 pounds, it's pretty light. This will fit in a backpack, no problem. I feel pretty comfortable just like tossing it around, even though it's a very expensive monitor. Feels like a pretty sturdy case, to be perfectly honest. And that's the Asus ZenScreen foldable OLED, world's first. It's awesome, it's expensive. I think that if you do want it, you know, check out the link below. You'll be able to find one there. And if you don't want it, just don't buy one. Thanks so much, Asus, for sponsoring today's video. You guys, you know, make sure to like and subscribe and let us know what you think down in the comments below.